Okay, so in this video, I'm just going to do an overview of FreedomSoft, and then I'm also going to do an overview of the FreedomSoft training. So this will be kind of an easy, just quick high-level look of the systems and the training that we're going to be doing. So the reason I do this because FreedomSoft itself can be quite cumbersome. It can be uh, there's a lot of moving parts to it, but the good news is for what we use it for. If I just kind of quickly show you what we do with it, then most of the stuff here really doesn't matter. So like all these tabs that I'm highlighting right here, these five, we don't even use those at all. We don't use this one either. So that's these six tabs here, don't even use it. We mainly use the pipeline, and then we use the SMS broadcast, and we occasionally use the follow-up. And then we mostly are in the response tab. So when somebody texts us back, they drop right here. And then once we do something with that task or that response, so say we assign it as a lead, then that gives it a task, and all tasks drop into here. And so this is kind of our daily tasks, and you can sort this by the user, so whoever's going to be, so if here's all mine that I've got. Bassett's got all his right here, and they're usually sorted by due date, but you're going to do it by assigned to. But as you can see, we're all caught up. If it's due today, it's in green, and if it's past due, this date would be in red. So when a task is assigned, then you can jump right into the lead. So whether it's a response here or a task here, you can always jump into the record of it. So for example, like this task here is the actual lead, and this is kind of the bulk of it here. So here we're in this lead, and then any notes that we're working on, we put them right here. This highlights all of our communication. So any phone calls or text messages, you can see that we have them all right here. I like to kind of put a shortened version of what we're working on right here in the notes. So that way, when I go to my task, I can just go into the lead, quickly take a look at the notes, and automatically remember what we were working on here, and then I can go to communications and either uh, send out an email, or I'm sorry, an email, a text, or just go ahead and call that person. So if I click on this, this will go ahead and start to call them. So, and then once I've done something with this lead, and let's say that this lead is going to progress into next week or next couple weeks or tomorrow, I can just go to the task, and then I can just reassign this task here to another date. So let's say I want to push it off to the 24th, and then I can save that, and then that will update in my tasks to really deal with that tomorrow. So same as up here. So when we get a response that comes in, um, I'm just going to pause this, take a look at this response so I can deal with it appropriately. So this is an agent that's been sending me all kinds of properties. A lot of them are FSBOs and not truly off-market properties. This looks like somebody she knows has this under contract and is looking to assign. Probably not a deal, but I can take a look at it. But anyways, I would deal with this. Let's say I will take a look, and then so I got a task. I've already cleared her because I'm finding that she's just sending me a lot of junk that's really kind of wasting my time. And that's okay to get rid of those people, because that's not necessarily when we're doing these campaigns, we're not looking for these agents that are just going to start sending us tons and tons and tons of crap. Really, the niche that we're after in here is that agent that'll send us that one property. They'll be like, I do have a property, and the seller doesn't want to go to market, or they want somebody to buy it as is, or whatever, or I have my own property I want to sell you. Um, those are the ones that really are kind of our um, uh, just really our go-to leads. is when they've got this one agent's got this one property and they're sending it to us. But we'll also get a lot of people that are wholesalers, or in this lady's situation, I don't know, she's plugged into all different types of stuff and she's sending me FSBOs and all. So she's wasting my time. She's not exactly the niche lead that we're after. So I've just kind of cleared her. I probably shouldn't even responded to her, but I don't have a task here. I'm probably, I'll take a quick look at it, but probably not something I'm gonna go after. But anyways, let's get back to, so let's say in this situation, this was a lead and this is something I wanted to work with. So then I could go down and either assign it to Bassett or me. When I do that, when I sign it as a lead, it automatically gives me a task. And I'll show you that here in a second. I'm going to pause this. So I went ahead and updated a lead status. So the only two we don't use any of these. We use this lead for Brian, we use lead for Bassett, or a lead for whoever. And I set these up, these lead categories, so it automatically assigns a task. So that way, when we're done assigning this and we've dealt with this text message, we can clear it because I already have a task assigned to it. I don't know why it just did that. Oh, it's because she sent me another one. So I can go ahead and clear her out because she's going to drop in right here in the task. So as you can see, it already assigned me a task right there. And here she is again. And then I can deal with this lead, put in the notes, whatever, communicate with her, deal with it, and then as she responds, it'll pop back up in here. But let's say I'm done dealing with her, then I can just clear that task, or I can edit this. Oops, not that task. I can edit this task. Let's do the right one. Let's say I'm working this task here. I can edit this task to deal with it at a later date. So that is kind of a high-level look at this system. So again, all of our incoming text messages come in here, and we don't want to let this pile up to hundreds of text messages. We want to deal with that text and clear it. So we respond in some way. Is a lead? Is it not a lead? If it is a lead, assign it as a lead so that it assigns a task, and then we clear it, and then we can deal with our tasks over here. The other stuff that we deal with is this pipeline. This is how we set up our campaigns. Not going to go into that in this training. That's a whole nother training. And then our SMS broadcast is the other tab that we use, which is the campaigns that we set up. And then we set these up so that they're pending. We do about 150 per day per campaign, just because if we do more than 150, then it starts blocking our number. So, but anyways, you can see all these different campaigns that we have set up, and we can send out these text messages. So, but those are different trainings. So the broadcast tab and the pipeline tab for setting up campaigns, that's completely different. We also use the follow-up occasionally, and I'll get into that. But the rest of the stuff, lead finder, cash buyers, all that stuff, we don't use it. We don't use these tabs or the dashboard really, and we don't use any of these. So I wanted to go over that because FreedomSoft can look pretty complicated at first, but when I really just kind of narrow down to what we use it for, it's really pretty simple. So anyways, so that is FreedomSoft. That's a high-level look at FreedomSoft. Now let's look at the training. So this is a high-level look at the training itself. So this is kind of how we deal with those incoming responses. So as text messages pile into here, we have to respond to them in a certain way. And so I have, through the time that I've used FreedomSoft, developed these kind of template responses, and they really deal with probably 80% of the incoming text messages. So you don't have to retype it. You don't have to think about it real hard. You just can see this, does it fit into this basic response? If so, you can just copy and paste that into the response and continue working them on. working the leads on. But this is really kind of in order. So you send out the text blast campaign, you get the responses. The first thing I do is I clear all the stops, unsubscribes, piss offs, and duplicates. So that when you send out a campaign, you'll get 30 or 40 responses in here. And the first thing I do, I get rid of all the junk, the stuff that we definitely don't want to pay attention to, which is the stops, the piss offs, whatever, duplicates, records. That way, it kind of gets it into a more manageable number of text messages to respond to. And then I move on to number 4, and then I go through all these responses. And you kind of get to know these responses like the back of your hand after you've done it a few times. And you can quickly copy and paste these responses into the text responses. And I'll actually shoot another video on doing that. And you can do that a couple different ways. Like you can just copy this one and you can go through and paste this response for all the ones that fit the nope, nothing, not right, or not right now, whatever. And you can go through and clear all, once you paste those, you can clear those messages, and then your list starts getting shorter and shorter and shorter and shorter, and it becomes more and more manageable as you go through these responses. Now, once you get through these responses, then you go on to number 5, and your remaining text messages from there are usually kind of the meat of our work. So these are the ones that are usually some sort of lead that we're working through. And so here's the order of how we deal with those. So if somebody, let's say we have 5 or 6 text messages left, and they say, yeah, I've got a property, is what they usually say. Then we would say, roughly, we would copy and paste this response. Roughly, what are you looking for the property? What price are you looking for? We ask for price first, then we ask for address. We don't do it the other way around, because when we ask for address first, they hardly ever will give us the price. They want to know what we will offer. And so, just like all negotiations, he who speaks first loses, right? So we want to find out first what the seller's asking, what do they want for the property? Once they give us the price, and it's just funny, the way that it works, the psychology of it is when we ask for the price, they always give it. If we ask for it first, almost always give it, I should say. Sometimes they'll say, no, we want to know what you're going to offer. And then I just move on to step 2, right? And then I get the address. But more times than not, they give it because I think in their minds, they're thinking, well, they got to know if they're even within the budget, their budget of being able to buy this property. So they send over the price. So then we got the price. Then we ask for the address. Once we have those 2 things, that's everything we need. From there, we can go in and determine the ARV. We can pull up the property records. We can get all the information we need to check to see if what they're asking for the property is in line with what we would offer, or less or more, right? Maybe we're willing to offer more than what they were willing to sell it for. Then we know we really probably have a pretty good lead. Those are the ones we want to jump on. If they're asking a lot more than what we're willing to offer, then we still get back to them and we respond with this. We respond with a message saying, hey, I'd be willing, I would be around, 500,000, for example. And then I kind of sell it a little bit. Buyer pays for closing costs, cash close in 10 days, blah, blah, blah. Is it worth us submitting an offer? So that is what we do. And because a lot of times these agents will send over something that's ridiculously high, but once we send over what we're willing to offer, sometimes they'll bite on that. So we definitely want to respond even to the ones that seem high right out of the gate. We definitely want to respond with what we would be willing to pay for it. We've already done the work, we might as well make some kind of verbal offer. All right. But in the circumstances or the text messages where they give us the price, they give us the address, we're kind of in line with one another, those are leads. And when those leads come up, we assign those to either me or whoever's working those. So anyways, that is pretty much it. So as you can see, I'm building out the training videos at the bottom. And so it's all kind of in one place. So we've got the FreedomSoft training, responses, and videos all in one spot. So I'm going to go ahead and end this. This is kind of the overview. The next videos I'll go into more detail where I'll run campaigns and I'll do the responses, and so you can see how that flows. And it's really pretty easy once you get the hang of it. So on to the next video.